This is it. Alright. Hi guys, Migs here. Shit, that's really bright.
Maybe we should face this way away from the sun. What are your thoughts?
Now we're squinty.
No, we're Asian, it's okay.
Hey guys, yeah, let's stand away from the sun so we're not too squinty. I'm Migs. We're here doing the Mankind Divided preview media event. I always get mixed up with those words. We are actually here at Bandai, and I've got Ray here.
Yo.
He's a little hungover, but he's gonna be my camera guy. And we're gonna go inside, we're gonna play the game, and we're gonna check it out for you guys. Okay, bye. This will be my first, I will say the first real-time playing Deus Ex. My mom actually lost my CD the first time I tried playing it.
Really?
Yeah, so this will be my first hands-on experience, but it's a beautiful game. As far as I know, this is like one of the engines that you've developed. I think it's called Dream Engine.
The Dawn Engine.
The Dark Engine, yes. I can see like every detail in the hair and in the veins and in the skin, and it's come such a long way. Like, it's always been a beautiful game, but there's like little finer details to this game. Like, did you have any issues on what you wanted to push forward more in this game in terms of graphics?
Well, there's a lot of issues when you develop your own engine. That's for sure. So we gave ourselves that challenge to own our own piece of technology in Eidos Montreal because of the types of games we're making. They're very, narrative-focused games. The environments are so rich in a Deus Ex game. We always say that every time you enter a room in a Deus Ex game, the room tells you a story. You don't necessarily need to have a character telling you what's happening. So to produce that, we need a lot of rendering power and a lot of tools for our level artists to be able to produce all those assets. So we decided to go with the Dawn engine. We invested in early in production, which is why production is a little bit longer. And anytime you create that, you're building the tool set as you're building the game, so that creates a bit of.
And you're both like learning, and once you experience more on your own engine, and you can bring that and implement into the game.
Exactly. So our content creators got more and more comfortable with the tools, and I think that we hit our stride a couple of years in production after to really produce the game that you're seeing today.
I was just looking at the apartment, and I can see the layers where you need. It's not just the character that tells a story; it's actually the room.
Right.
So you can see like how he's lived there, how he's looked after.
Exactly.
Just even the detail on the couch. I was like looking at the couch for a little while, and you can just see the dimples in all the leather. So, and the lighting effects in the whole game was amazing.
Yeah, the lighting effect, the fog effects, they're so important for this type of game. That's why we really wanted to invest in the technology. We knew that in HR we had an amazing art direction, but the tech was a bit lagging behind. And so for us, it was important to have a good solid tech to really have the world shine through its art direction.
Is that one of the main things that you wanted to push more in this game? Like, what was the biggest thing in this game where you wanted to further push more, or you wanted to advance in it?
Right. I think that in HR we had such good feedback, and we were really proud of the game that we did in terms of how it balances all the pillars of the Deus Ex game, the themes of the games were really, really interesting, but we felt that there were some options to improve on a few areas. So yeah, the technology was one of them to have, like I said, the art direction really shine. We felt that the controls were not really fluid in Human Revolution, so we worked a lot on just making it more accessible on the controller. The combat aspect of the game was not really strong in HR, so we improved a lot of the controls for the combat. We added more augmentations, or a bit more aggressive, and the goal was not to turn it into a combat game, it's just to make combat and stealth at the same level. So the player has all the freedom to really play how he wants, and that's what we expect from a Deus Ex game. The boss fights, obviously, we have a lot of feedback on this, and we want to make sure that we're not forced to kill a character or forced to play combat. So all the situations in the game now are really consistent with how you play. And lastly, I would say the choice and consequence. Really, we added a lot of work there. So there's a lot of things that you do in the game that you might not realize have an actual impact on the game world. There are sometimes really big choices, questions of life or death for a character, and you certainly will be presented with that, but sometimes it's just little actions that you'll see a bit later in the game.
It's like a ripple effect in terms of
exactly. So there's so many of these in the game, and for example, in Dubai, if you do the secondary objective or not, or if your colleague saying is alive or not, or if you trigger the sandstorm or not, and there's a lot of little things already in Dubai that will be reflected throughout the game response to you. And that leads up even to the ending aspect of the game.
So multiple endings?
You have multiple endings, but it's not, okay, I have like 4 choices and let's pick or choose and reload my save game. It's a much more organic way of getting through the ending game challenges, and what you've done previously in the game, what maybe you have as objects or not on you, could affect in a major way what happens at the end. So for us, that whole choice and consequence aspect was a big driver for the production process.
So like each player can have their own experience, and I can like talk to one of my friends, I can talk to Ray and be like,
Very
I finished
much so.
the game, did you happen to this? And he goes, no, I chose this route,
Yeah.
and being able to get that. It's really good. So it's like it's more catering to the player as well, and choosing their own kind of journey through the game.
Exactly, and we had so many fans telling us, like, I finished Human Revolution 7 times and we're still discovering new things, and we want to bring that forward. And I think now in the era of, we're on Twitch and super popular Let's Play videos on YouTube, we feel that even more, like, our game's going to shine with how people share their experiences and discover new things in the game as they play.
Because it's not just a game that will only have not much replay value. This will make you actually want to play it more and discover more and more things about the game and find out how in depth it actually is.
Yeah, very much so, and that's why we added a new game plus mode. So let's say you finish, you had a lot of augmentations with you, you can restart and just play through the game with like a very powerful adding genser, but maybe you're getting to discover new things that you might have missed. So the replay value for us is a very strong point in this one with the choice and consequences. Yeah.
The music is something that I got to also comment on. It's just basically when I was playing the game, and even the interactions and the cutscenes and the gameplay, it's like you're definitely submersed in the movie as well. And the music actually really fits in so well. One of my favorite parts is when you jump out of the helicopter and just lands, and that music just goes on. Just, wow, I'm just gonna watch this for a little bit, sit down and relax. Is the music something that you always that you push through in this game as well? Yeah, for sure. Steve Shipkowski, our audio director, is great at just putting his vision for the music and the soundscape of the game. And we work with Michael McCann and Sacha. The nom de famille de Sacha? Sacha Dekisyan, 2 great composers, have a lot of experience. Michael McCann was in Human Revolution. So yeah, just having the game sound and feel like the music is so important. And it's funny, like, we develop all the game, all the features, all the environments, and it works while we're in production, but when we finally, at the end of production, put the music in, it's incredible how it just ties everything together. Yeah, I know. Even if it just looks good, once you've added in the music and stuff, I feel like that's when I get more emotionally involved. Just like, oh my god, and like if the music piece fits so well with the scene, that's when you get more involved with the character as well. Another question is, what would you like if? So it seems like where we're heading now. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. People can start getting modded and become augmented. If you could choose one thing that you could augment about yourself, what would that be? I've been asked this question a few times and don't
watched the previous interviews, but I think I have like a new answer every time. But I would say maybe the social augmentation is pretty. It's pretty interesting. You can really you can read and feel how people react to you. I think it's a huge advantage. But whenever we talk about this, there's always the moral dilemma. Is that okay? Like that I can actually cheat my way through this interview or cheat my way through like exactly. So is that something that we want or not? And that I think that's one of the really interesting things of this game or this universe is our relationship with technology. But yeah, I think the social augmentation.
I really don't really cool. I don't know what I would do. I kind of like how we can jump out of like buildings and stuff, and you don't even need a lift.
Well, obviously cloaking is pretty cool.
Cool. Just walk around.
That's it.
Another question that I do have is the landscape and architecture. I know some of it is based on real life areas like Prague and everything, but what I've noticed is it's got layers and layers, so it's slightly like more futuristic mixed with steampunk as well. Right. And what I've noticed with the NPCs. Just walking along the street, each one of them has their own individual kind of personality. Yeah. One person will be just drinking coffee, one person will be smoking over there, and these other two are interaction. It just seems like the way that the world is, it's just it's so believable. But you can also feel that kind of like tension because the robots and the drones are always watching you.
That's it, yeah.
I just wanted to say, how do you feel about like that world, and where do you get them some of the inspiration of how much do you push to actually go too futuristic, or in what areas have you kind of held it back?
Right. We pushed a lot. This was one of the, if not the most challenging part of the development process of this game, is building that Prague city. It's such a dense city. There's a lot of living, breathing world. So yes, all the characters, they have their occupations, those scripted events, they all do something. And when you go to a character, at minimum, if you like click on them, they're gonna talk back to you with a specific line, which is an insane amount of writing and a voice recording. We don't go for the big crowd system in open world environment. Other games do that, and that's great for them, but for us it's all about creating a story for everything that you touch in the game. So a lot of effort goes there. You mentioned the architecture. For us, again, it's important to have that credibility to the environment, mix the old of Prague with the new kind of near future themes that we're going for. And that's at the end is just to create a very well-defined world, with a lot of world building aspect to it.
So it's more believable and has substance to it as well.
That's
not just like, oh, it looks pretty, but you can actually walk in and like feel the environment.
Yeah, you have to feel the environment. Yeah, you can discover, just the environment for its own sake, because it's fun to just head into a Prague apartment and discover a little story there about someone who lives there. But obviously we attach like side missions to the exploration, we attach loot, and all these things are really rewarding too.
Another question, what is your favorite, well, without spoilers, what's your favorite part, or the thing that you're most proudest about Mankind Divided?
It's a good question. We're just wrapping up development, so we haven't had a lot of time to look back on it, and again, I think I would come back to the city hub, the Prague area. Yeah, I think that what we achieved with the amount of details, so living, breathing world aspect I was just telling you about. It takes a lot of work from many different people in the team to get that achieved. So I think that would be it for me.
Oh, okay. Last question. This is one from like some of my viewers, because I also stream as well when I do the events. They wanted to know, what is your favorite junk food, or what do you like to eat when you're like playing games and you don't want to like leave from the chair? Like they asked me, what's your favorite pizza?
Okay.
And what is your favorite junk food to eat while you're in the chair?
Well, that's the first time I get this question.
Something different.
Okay, so pizza. So I come from Montreal, so we have this pizza variety called the all-dressed pizza. So there's like peppers and mushrooms and pepperoni. It's just a very thick pizza. So yeah, I think that one's pretty good. And maybe the junk food. Again, I go with a very Quebec thing, in Montreal thing. With poutine.
No,
You don't know what that is? So these are French fries with gravy sauce and cheese curds on it. So that's a very French Canadian thing.
That sounds really good.
It's So if you are like playing and that's something you can have on the side, and then you just stuck in your couch for the rest of the day because you can't move. It's so
You're
heavy.
set.
Yeah, so
You've
you're
been
set.
fed. You can stay there for a couple more
A good
hours.
game and a poutine and a beer maybe. Yeah,
Perfect combination.
That's a good
Food,
day.
alcohol, and video games. It's always the perfect trio.
There you go.
Well, thank you very much for answering my questions.
Thank you.
And that's about it that we have today. Is it okay if I can get a photo?
Of course.
Yay, Ray!
You want some